The life of Tupac Shakur was a story full of brilliance, struggles, and an early death still shrouded in mystery. Born of legacies of activism and molded by hardship, Tupac emerged as the voice of a generation. Producing powerful music that addressed the social injustices of the world, he captivated audiences, only for his life to be tragically cut short at 25. On a fateful night in Las Vegas, a rapper's career, one whose impact continued to resonate from hip-hop into other genres of music, was ended by means of a drive-by shooting. Yet, the mystery of his death and the figures involved that night have kept fans and investigators looking for answers. Tupac Amaru Shakur was born Lassane Parish Crooks on June 16, 1971, in East Harlem, New York City. Tupac Amaru Shakur was the name given to him by his mother, Afeni Shakur, after an 18th century revolutionary of Peru, Tupac Amaru II. His mother was a Black Panther, and she brought him up with the idea of activism and social justice. His father, too, had something to do with the Black Panther Party, although he was somewhat absent in Tupac's life. As Tupac was growing up, political discourse around him was not only intense, but taught him lessons on empowerment and systemic oppression. His family's financial challenges mirrored these struggles. Afeni, following her acquittal in the Panther 21 trial, struggled with poverty and addiction, moved frequently, and at times experienced hardship. In 1986, Tupac's family moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where he would attend the Baltimore School for the Arts. There, his talents bloomed through studies in acting, poetry, and even ballet, reflecting an unusual range for a young man. It was there he met fellow student Jada Pinkett, later known as Jada Pinkett Smith, with whom he formed a deep and abiding friendship. Recalling the relationship, Tupac once said, "Jada is my heart. She will be my friend for my whole life." Certainly, his relationship with her epitomized his toughness and tenderness combo. In 1988, Tupac and his family moved to Marin City, California. It is here that Tupac's journey into the world of music took leaps and bounds when he entered local rap competitions to hone his performing skills. In 1991, he joined Digital Underground as a backup dancer and MC. For the first time here, he gained some attention with the song, Same Song. This formed the backbone for his solo music career. His first album, Tupacalypse Now, came in 1991, with heavy messages of police brutality and injustices from the system. The song, Brenda's Got a Baby, showed that Tupac would stop at nothing to make sure the darker side of humanity was heard. Controversial, it nonetheless marked him as a brave new talent in rap. Tupac's rise was marked by personal and legal struggles. In 1993, he released Strictly For My Niggas, which featured the radio-friendly I Get Around and the socially conscious Keep Your Head Up. He was finding a balance between the mainstream and the message, but his newfound success brought unwanted attention. In November 1994, Tupac was jumped and shot 5 times in the lobby of Quad Recording Studios in New York City. The shooting incident came during an increase in tensions between the rappers from the East Coast and those from the West. Tupac would then go on to accuse figures like the Notorious B.I.G. of having set him up, a deepening of the rivalry that would shape the next phase of his life. Tupac's legal issues finally led to a sexual abuse charge filed against him from an incident in 1993. In 1995, he was found guilty. The sentence was 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison. He was then sent to Clinton Correctional Facility to serve. The setback did not stop Tupac from being a major influence. While serving time in prison, he released Me Against the World, an album that marked a creative high point and revealed his reflective side. The album topped the Billboard 200, making Tupac the first artist to have ever done such a thing while incarcerated. The single, Dear Mama, really spoke volumes to the people, paying tribute to the complicated relationship he had with his mother, Afeni, and is a timeless piece about family struggles and loyalty. Suge Knight had bailed him out of prison late in 1995, posting $1.4 million bail. Knight was the chief executive officer of Death Row Records and a powerful person. The deal bound Tupac to death row, and he channeled his energies into the creation of All Eyez on Me, a double album that came out in February 1996. This piece of work depicted a new persona, more confident and combative, which was needed for Death Row's image, including hits like California Love and How Do You Want It? The album was a major success, reaching diamond certification and defining the West Coast rap sound. But being part of Death Row Records had its risks. The record company was involved in controversies, with the known gang activity ties from Suge Knight increasing the stakes. This era also marked Tupac's rivalry with the notorious B.I.G. escalating into an all-out battle, which created the diss track, Hit 'Em Up, pushing the East Coast-West Coast war to new heights. On September 7, 1996, it all started, the events that would see Tupac's life taken away. He attended a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. After the match, Tupac, traveling with Suge Knight and others from Death Row, became involved in an altercation in the casino lobby with Orlando Anderson, a member of the Southside Crips. The confrontation was captured on surveillance cameras and reportedly stemmed from an earlier incident in which Anderson had robbed a Death Row associate. Later that night, Tupac and Suge Knight were stopped at a red light in Knight's black BMW at the intersection of Flamingo Road and Koval Lane. A white Cadillac pulled up beside them, and a shooter inside opened fire. Tupac was hit 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. One bullet critically punctured his lung. Tupac was able to try to speak, defying this pattern of injury. He was then rushed to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Doctors performed multiple surgeries, including the removal of his right lung, to save him. They induced a coma and put him on life support, with Tupac Shakur by his side, while the painful decision was made to stop medical intervention after 6 days with little change. On September 13, 1996, Tupac Shakur died from those injuries. He was 25 years old. In the wake of his death, wild speculation was rife and media attention was immense. Investigations were hampered early on, with a lack of witness cooperation and the complexities of gang affiliations surrounding the case. Rumors and conspiracies sprang up almost immediately, including theories that Tupac had faked his death and was living in hiding. It was part and parcel of the greater context of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry that, in turn, took part in the violent demise of the notorious B.I.G. 6 months later. For many years, the case was never solved. In a surprise turn of events in 2018, however, former Crips member Dwayne "Kef" D. Davis implicated himself in interviews. He was in the Cadillac from which shots were fired, and implicated his nephew Orlando Anderson as the shooter. Anderson had been a suspect since the incident, but was killed in an unrelated gang shooting in 1998, further complicating the investigation. The case was restarted in 2023 when Davis was arrested and charged with murder, a move that reignited public interest and reopened questions regarding motives and affiliations behind the killing. The arrest was a significant moment, showing that Tupac's murder was not just a tragic outcome of personal enmities, but a complex reflection of the rap world's fraught intersection with gang culture. As of now, Davis awaits trial, marking a significant chapter in one of music's longest-running mysteries. Tupac's death did not stop his influence. His album, The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory, cemented under the moniker Machiavelli, spoke with foretelling overtones of his death and struggling against it. The single cover with Tupac as a crucified martyr furthered this idea of a man who had predicted his death. His legacy continued to grow with posthumous releases, documentaries, and books, including The Rose That Grew from Concrete, a collection of his poetry showing him more in his personal, sensitive light. Tupac's influence went further than just music. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017 for being one of the major influencers among rappers. The passionate advocacy he displayed for social issues continues to inspire new generations of artists who consider him a symbol of resistance and truth. Eminem once described him, saying, "Tupac made you feel like you knew him." The emotion was there. Everything he was trying to describe. You saw a picture that he was trying to paint. The circumstances of his death remain a cautionary tale of fame, rivalry, and the struggles that accompany outspokenness as an artist. His voice was powerful and unforgettable. And songs like Changes or speeches about life in America's inner cities, Tupac's voice, even today, still echoes, a strong call to understand deep structural ills in society and seek change. Tupac Shakur's life was always an epic tale of talent, struggle, and power. He lived a life full of ups and downs, but his legacy has kept the imagination of fans from every corner of the globe. If you truly enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content down the line, and take a second to channel how Tupac's voice still resonates with you today.